Hey guys, welcome back. We have a weekend energy update to get into as we are wrapping up this week, which may have been a little hectic, a little chaotic. Things could have gotten a little messy out there. We have been moving through some real difficult energy over this past couple of weeks. Mars conjunct the South Node, Venus square Mars and the nodes, Pluto and the Sun have been opposite throughout the course of this week as well. Mercury retrograde. So that's been perhaps like a little bit of a tough pill that we've had going on out there, but by the time we get to Sunday of this weekend, we should be able to, I think, maybe like take a sigh of relief. We should be able to maybe like catch our breath in some regard. This tension and just all this maybe very like confrontation oriented energy is beginning to wane, is beginning to separate, is beginning to dissipate. So on one hand, things should chill out by the time that we get to Sunday. Now we do still open the weekend in some of this hangover energy that is remnant from what we've had going on with these conjunctions, squares, and oppositions throughout the course of this past week. So Friday is a bit of more of the same. And as we move into Saturday, things shift slightly. By the time we get to Sunday, this is when I think pressure eases up a bit and we've got some things to talk about, you guys. So let's get into our report, put all this together, take a good look at how energy is lining itself up for us this weekend and what maybe we can expect as we head through the weekend and prepare to enter next week. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Friday, July 25th, 2025. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the weekend where we are narrating the shift of the ages. In this video, we are just going to take a good look at our energy forecast Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend, what it might mean for us as we move through the weekend, and how things are setting themselves up for us as we prepare to enter the energy of next week. So we got a lot to talk about, you guys. If you have been following along with the astrology this past couple days, this week, this past couple of weeks, then you know that we have been moving through a highly active period of time. Energy-wise, we've had a couple of different big probably results producing transits that have been going on. Primarily the Mars South Node conjunction that's happened in the sign of Virgo from the Western tropical zodiac perspective. Mars and the South Node only come together like once every 2 years or so, and the South Node is the point of karmic release, and Mars of course is action and energy. So this represents a once in 2 year period of karmic release, and it is also an energetic low point. The South Node is like a drain, it's like a flush, and with Mars there, that's our energy levels. So you may have been feeling quite depleted over this past couple of weeks, and I'm here to tell you that that should lessen, that should begin to wane as this aspect begins to wane, and that is really happening Sunday, Monday, and as we enter the beginning to the middle of next week. I do think we're going to start feeling some restored energy levels, but also kind of like feeling like things maybe are getting back on track in some regard. Now, mind you, we have some real powerful retrograde energy going on right now. We've got multiple different big outer planets retrograde. Mercury's also retrograde right now. And so there is this emphasis on the past. I would not be surprised, to be honest with you, if you are getting like pieces of missing information, context, details pertaining to maybe like unsolved mysteries from the past, or like things that you didn't understand fully or didn't understand clearly, or like always questioned. I feel like there's something about the energy that's coming through this weekend that could be providing some answers. Maybe they're not the answers that we would have wanted, but there is something here about information coming through pertaining to past situations that were not fully understood. So maybe something to be mindful of, or just something you may find yourself experiencing somehow throughout the course of the weekend or moving into next week. I will also tell you, we've got some big changes pending. So even though this weekend we are still kind of going through this energetic hangover resulting from the remnants of all of this intensity that's been going on this past couple of weeks, By the time we get to Sunday, this energy does lighten up, and moving Monday into Tuesday next week, we're going to have our first experience of the air trine, grand air trine, with Pluto in Aquarius, Uranus in Gemini, and the moon in Libra. Whenever the moon hits early degrees of Libra, enters the sign of Libra, for now and the, ongoing future at this point until Uranus retrogrades, there's going to be a grand air trine that is activated that is gonna like push some button that accelerates some process of change. And that's what we're actually experiencing for the first time as we enter the energy of next week. But this weekend, Friday, we are still caught up in this like funk sort of as a result of just all this jammed up energy this past couple of weeks. I started talking about and mentioned the Mars South Node conjunction. That's like a beast of an aspect. That's a brutal aspect, and it can just, not have us feeling the most on top of our game, I think we could probably say. So we've had that going on. Venus has also been square Mars and square the nodes this past week. That is also things just not like being settled. Of course, this can provoke conflict in relationship dynamics, things to do with like the masculine and feminine end of things, counterparts, and both happening in the signs ruled by Mercury while Mercury's retrograde. A lot of misunderstandings, a lot of like, rumors or gossip or misinterpretations of things that could be leading to conflict and confrontation and stuff like that as well. And this could also be like past situations or past information or past things that have happened or past actions coming back around somehow. Like this could be like the chickens coming home to roost type of vibe situation, especially maybe playing out in relationship dynamics. This has also been pressing hard into the financial end of things with Venus and in the sign of Gemini. This can be like transactional. This is like purchases. This is like financial partnerships and stuff like that. Also squaring Mars and Virgo. I don't know. Probably just not the best energetic climate for progress and things to really be moving forward or upward, maybe, at least in their presentation, or I don't know. It is another thing that I've been saying and that I am perceiving in the context of this Mars South Node Virgo conjunction that we've been having going on is this like aptitude for this energy to like interrupt patterns that have been persisting for long periods of time. So it's something about like this energy over this past couple weeks may have interrupted the system that things like normally seem to operate along, and it could have to do with finances. It could have to do with like our daily habits and routines, our schedules, agendas, like even thought patterns and stuff like that. But there's something about just the standard like operating mode, the normal systems that things generally like just flow through, being interrupted, being disrupted, or needing to be changed somehow. There could also be, this is like a very breakdown oriented energy with the Sun Pluto opposition that we've also had going on. My past two reports I put out have been very Sun Pluto opposition centric in the nature of the conversation that is going on over there. So if you want to know more about the Sun Pluto opposition and all the ways that that energy is likely to be operating and impacting us right now, check that out. I'm not going to get too much into that particular aspect here, but needless to say, that's an intense energy. That's power struggles, that's confrontations, that's two powerful forces being pitted up against one another. This brings out themes having to do with like shining light into the shadows, things being illuminated, Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, like sudden awakenings to the root problems, root issues, the core of things, the ugly truths being revealed here. So these could have been themes that have been somehow woven into all the other stuff that has been playing out simultaneously over this past couple of weeks. But we've had that going on, and that energy is also beginning to separate as we move through the weekend, as we get into Saturday and Sunday specifically. So things should begin to, as I said earlier, like chill out by the time that we do move through the weekend. But And in the energy of Friday, we are still in more of the same. The Sun and Pluto are still in exact opposition. Mars is still in a very tight square to Venus. Venus is still in a very tight square to the nodes. Mars and the South Node are still in a conjunction, although Mars is approaching a 3-degree orb separation from the South Node. This should help to alleviate some of the stress, okay, that has been associated with that transit. But all in all, you guys, Friday could really be kind of another dose of the madness. Like I said, we are definitely still moving through the remnants of the energy of this past week, still sort of giving journey through the underworld vibes a little bit here. And I mean, the sun is still located at actually the same degree where it was for our new moon yesterday. It's at 2 degrees, and then we'll move to 3 degrees of the sign of Leo. And of course, Pluto right now is at 2 degrees of the sign of Aquarius. So we do open Friday with the exact aspect. And right now, also, we know that Saturn and Neptune are at 1 and 2 degrees retrograding through the sign of Aries. So there's a trine right there. We've got an opposition to Pluto from the sun. We've got an exact trine to Neptune and Saturn retrograde. Again, I talked all about this dynamic in my last video, the new moon video as well, because of course it was very much there for that, for our new moon chart also. So if you want more information about that, check my last video. That's where you'll find it. But we still got that going on, and Venus and Mars, as I said, are still in their square, and we still have the nodes implicated in all of this as well. And also on Friday, you guys, guess what else is going on? Remember, on Thursday, we had our new moon in the sign of Leo, which meant the moon entered the sign of Leo and joined the sun in Leo, because the sun is currently transiting through the sign of Leo. We are now in Leo season, and that means that the moon is also transiting through the sign of Leo. Who else is in the sign of Leo right now, you guys? You know this. It's Mercury retrograde. We have Mercury retrograde currently at 14 degrees of the sign of Leo. And so the moon on Friday is going to make a conjunction to Mercury retrograde. This is obviously really going to activate this Mercury retrograde and Leo energy again. Friday, you may get some insight. You may get some information. There could be some messages that just come across your purview, specifically perhaps through the internet, through technology, online, or like on a computer or in print somehow. Maybe even something that you overhear, a conversation that you overhear. Maybe, you know, somebody butt dials you and you hear something that gives you a missing piece of information. I don't know, but with Mercury retrograde and the moon coming right there, and the square between Venus and Mars still going on, and like just all of this stuff, the Sun-Pluto opposition still very active and alive, obviously. Remember, the sun is, Mercury's in the sign of Leo as well with the sun. The sun is ruling the position of Mercury. The sun is opposite Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. The sun is obviously like the greatest source of light and illumination and enlightenment, right? And Pluto, of course, is the darkness, is what's hidden, is the root of something, is the core, is what's been going on under the surface, is what's been going on behind the scenes, and is, of course, the Lord of the underworld. So when we have a face-off going on between the sun, you know, this big glowing like light source, like spotlight shining right into the void, into the darkness, into the realms that are normally shadowy and hidden, there's a chance that we're going to discover something there that we didn't know was there, or that we're going to find something out, or that we're going to see the root of the problem, or that we're going to, you know, have some type of x-ray vision into something, or that something's going to be uncovered. We're going to figure out some type of secret. And then when we talk about the fact that this is Mercury retrograde as well, that's like from the past, and Mercury's a messenger planet. So wouldn't be surprised if there's a piece of information that somehow finds its way to you on Friday that brings some type of enlightenment or illumination into maybe something that had been previously unknown to you, previously secretive, previously hidden, or that you just been unaware of somehow. So that could be a way that some of this is working out. Things could also here just like feel like they're moving backwards, especially too with the Sun trine Saturn and Neptune, who are also both retrograde. Listen to all the retrograde energy that we have being activated on Friday. We've got the Sun opposite Pluto retrograde, trining both Saturn and Neptune, who are also retrograde. There's 3 retrograde planets being activated by the Sun and exactly right there. And of course, this was also going on Thursday for our new moon in Leo, which, as I said, talked about it in my last video. But we also have the moon in the sign of Leo conjunct Mercury retrograde. So that's like all of our retrograde planets right now, Pluto, Neptune, Saturn, and Mercury, both being contacted by the luminaries while Mars is still conjunct the South Node. The South Node is also the past. Of course, this is karma, right? This is things actively being resolved, actively, coming back up, coming back around, looking for closure, being released, ultimately, hopefully, cycles being broken, ultimately, hopefully. And then we bring into it all of this retrograde energy, all of this emphasis on the past, and specifically in regards to how we're feeling about things and information, messages being delivered. So all of that type of stuff might be going on. And there could also be like this feeling of like looking back, being caught up in the past. The Sun opposite Pluto retrograde as well. This could be like all-consuming, obsessive thoughts perhaps coming through. But lots of people, maybe it could be nostalgia, maybe it could be reminiscing about things, or maybe it could be like focused on solving some type of unresolved issue that we had never fully understood, and for some reason it's like relevant, or we're again like figuring it out or something right now. Also, old mysteries or old secrets could be on our mind as well. Now, this energy could also create situations where things that are just like seemingly and apparently and obviously totally out of our control interrupt our ability to like get anything done, or to get a message across, or to get somewhere generally. Plans, schedules, agendas, commutes, transactions, are like our movement may even feel like somewhat restricted for some reason. I think that a lot of delays, postponements, people running late, and also like misperceiving or incorrectly writing down times and dates and locations, and therefore just not showing up. That type of thing is highly indicated in energy like this. And also Sun, Pluto, Mars, South Node, all this Mercury retrograde, like straight up things just breaking, like literal things, engine failure, machines, devices, communication devices breaking down, signal not going through, lost in translation, can't get a message across, scrambled signals, things that like just won't work, just won't function for some reason, causing interruptions in our ability to communicate, and our ability to complete tasks, and our ability to stay on track or stay on schedule or follow through on plans as well. Also, of course, miscommunication, misinterpretation, misunderstanding, misperceiving something, gossip, rumors, misinformation, lacking context, lacking details, people saying stuff that they don't really mean, or in a way that is like unclear or like up for interpretation for some reason, somehow, people not being on the same page, not seeing eye to eye, and conflicts, confrontations, power struggles that perhaps do come up as a result of this. That is also some of this carryover energy that we have going on, and that we have had going on throughout this past several days. And honestly, again, like super retrograde right now. The Sun also trine Saturn and Neptune. That's like almost like blurry vision. That's like dazed and confused, like being kind of like a bit caught in a haze, not really sure, like very daydreamy, very dissociated, very disconnected from reality again. And we've got still like, of course, I've said this energy is still lingering from this past week, where this has definitely been a theme, but just like not feeling like the pep in the step, like drained, tired, depleted, unmotivated, like no energy, just kind of want to lay around, like mentally slow. Also, like, I don't know, like not super enthusiastic about things, like just not on top of our game. The head nod in the game. Both of those phrases have been coming to my head in association with the energy this week. So, you know, if you're still feeling that on Friday and moving into Saturday, it is just a vibe out there right now, and a lot is probably just not making sense. This is a good time for making corrections. I've been saying that, like, mistakes and corrections, if you make a mistake, make a correction, like that's a good utilization of the energy right now. Revising things, reinvention, and personal reinvention. That's another thing that I think a lot of people are just going to be like inherently doing in the energy of this week and this weekend, and especially moving into next week as well. But the past, that's what's highlighted here. Maybe in regards to the truth coming out or surfacing somehow. This could also be actually, and this is another vibe that's sort of been going on all week, like past grievances and people seeking like revenge, vengeance, retribution. Wouldn't be surprised. Mars conjunct the South Node, anger pertaining to the past and like wanting to get even for that. Lower octaves of this energy, we could see that type of thing going on right now as well. Many people are going to be experiencing, I do think, extremely karmic situations, of course, because that's what this energy does. It is like, it's like an opportunity for us to break ourselves out of some karmic cycles. So as a result of that, we're going to be, I think, kind of collectively given situations right now to attempt to do that. And, you know, maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll need another go round the energetic classroom in regards to that particular experience or that particular lesson. But we are definitely getting and being given a period of time right now to work through some karmic challenges that perhaps we as an individual soul or a collective, you know, of humanity actually has struggled with. And because of where we're at right now, also in our transition to the age of Aquarius, like a lot of people, I do think Uranus trine Pluto right now in Gemini, while this is all going on, are hearing the wake up call. Like a lot of people are at that point of transcending and breaking free from these past karmic lessons that we may have been stuck in and struggling for long periods of time. And again, personal upgrades, personal evolutions, personal reinventions, like this is what is coming for a lot of people as a result of the ability to finally like cut ties with whatever it has been that's been dragging us down, limiting us, and keeping us detached from this path to align with our higher purpose, or find something more fulfilling or more aligned with us, or experience a process of self-actualization, which is really where energy is trying to orient us all right now. Because really, you know, at the end of the day, and when we consider the bigger picture unfolding here, this whole period of time right now is about refining us. It is about this process of personal upgrade and helping us to tap a different level of our potential to evolve on a soul level as we do collectively move towards this age of elevated frequency associated with the age of Aquarius that is incoming right now, and that is actually also on an even grander scale part of an ascendance into a new golden age that is in the process of taking place as well. So, you know, all of this retrograde energy right now, everything could still be like real scrambled out there. Everything could still feel kind of like incoherent and a little bit off kilter. Again, you may be feeling depressed, burnt out, like low energy, low vibe, tired, detached, avoidant, like you are just not wanting to participate in, you know, life kind of right now at this point in time. But we should start to feel a bit better as we move through the weekend, especially once we get to Sunday. This is going to be, I think, reanimating things again. The conjunction between Mars and the South Node is going to begin to wane, to come apart. That is going to stop draining our energy levels to the same extent that they have been. The Sun is also going to be moving out of trine to Saturn and Neptune in Aries, which also drains energy levels in the opposition to Pluto, which isn't really helping all that much either. And so this, I do think, is going to help us to feel like we're coming back to life a little bit But another thing that I do want to say, and this really has applied throughout the course of this week, Friday and specifically Saturday this weekend. On Saturday, and we're going to get into the energy of Saturday in just a minute here, but the moon transiting through the sign of Leo is going to come into a trine with Chiron and Aries. That is giving potential for like damage to occur through heat or through fire or through some type of, I don't know, just like heat source for some reason. So you may want to exercise like an additional level of caution or care, especially when it comes to things having to do with the sun, things having to do with fire, things having to do with like hot tools or things that involve like sparks or fire or something like that. Even like heat stroke, heat exhaustion, like dehydration and stuff like that. Injury or damage by heat, by the sun, or by fire is something that I do think is indicated in the energy of this weekend. Just like make sure that you are limiting your sun exposure, or that you're paying attention to like how much sun exposure you get if you do have plans to be outdoors for a long period of time. Like don't fall asleep in the sun. Like sunburns, bad sunburns and stuff could occur in energy like this, because if you think about it, we have the sun in the sign of Leo right now. We have the moon in the sign of Leo right now. Right there, that is a lot of hot sun solar energy. And the moon in the sign of Leo is trining Chiron in Aries. That is more, I mean, Aries is a fire sign as well. It's a fire sign trine. Trines are like an unrestricted flow of energy. Like things spread quickly, they happen quickly. Like there's no restriction or limitations really when we're dealing with trine energy. And then we're talking about Chiron being there, which is pain, wounding, trauma, you know, stuff like that. So just be careful that you're paying attention if you are dealing with heat, dealing with fire, dealing with sun. That is a word of caution that I want to put out there. Now let's discuss the energy of Saturday more specifically. As I mentioned, we do have the moon in the sign of Leo to start the day on Saturday. The moon actually changes signs throughout the course of the day on Saturday. How we're feeling to start the day may be different than how we're feeling as we get to the end of the day on Saturday. There could be the evening could be like a little bit weird. We could have like just strange plans or be doing something later in the day on Saturday that's just like not what we're usually doing at that time on that day for some reason. We'll talk about that in a minute, but you know, we do start out the day with the moon in the sign of Leo, and this is when that sun to Chiron comes in. Now, aside from the, you know, maybe watch out with the hot things dimension of this energy, it can also give like a dramatic emotional expression to things. If we're talking about a Leo moon, that's already an energy that is quite passionate and dramatic in the expression of emotion going on. But then when we add the fire sign trine to Chiron, this can also, I think, be like bringing up or connecting us to on a deeper level, or just maybe like making us feel more significantly than we normally do. Places that we've been wounded, especially maybe in the context of the heart, because Leo can have to do with the heart. So like wounds to the heart could for some reason be coming up in a way that is just really moving us for some reason. And as a result of that, we could see some emotional release, like feelings of rawness, sensitivity, vulnerability, weakness could be going on, and people could just be kind of like highly expressive in how they are dealing with the expression of those feelings and emotions. This is a lunar aspect though, this Chiron moon trine. The moon moves quickly, so this is going to pass. As I said, by the time that we get to the later part of the day, late afternoon and evening, the moon will leave the sign of Leo, enter the sign of Virgo. That's a mutable sign, you guys. What's gonna happen as soon as the moon enters the sign of Virgo? Well, it's going to square Uranus at 0 degrees of Gemini. So now we still have the Mars-Venus square going on in the signs of Gemini and Virgo. We still have Venus squaring the nodes, Venus in Gemini, South Node in Virgo, North Node in Pisces. And now we've got another Virgo Gemini square going on as a result of the moon's entrance and transit through the sign of Virgo in the late day on Saturday. So this is going to, again, feel sort of like it's pulling from the energy of this past week, where the Virgo Gemini squares really characterized a lot of what we had playing out, with it being the moon that is creating the second square in that same sign dynamic. This could be bringing up some inner unrest, anxiety, nervous tension, anticipation, like just a sense of unsettledness, a sense of internal friction, internal conflict, internal irritation. But Mars does hit a 3-degree orb separation from the South Node on Saturday. So although perhaps this energy is not all that just like comfortable or like mentally stabilizing, which it's really probably not. There could definitely be some mental conflict going on here, thoughts and feelings kind of at odds. Again, like we may not even be on the same page as ourselves. This could, of course, be, again, pressing on these relationship conflicts and stuff like that, but the Mars South Node conjunction is beginning to separate, and we are moving out of the energy that has brought us the bulk of the challenges throughout this past couple of weeks. So there could be, you know, with the moon square Uranus, this could be some random, sudden, or impulsive change that takes place, or that we are implementing somehow on Saturday, something different or unusual that takes place Saturday evening, as I mentioned earlier, just sort of like outside the norms of our normal routines. Something may happen that interrupts the normal flow or the normal patterning of things. That is a primary indication in the energy right now. And the moon's transit through the sign of Virgo over the next couple days does emphasize changes and endings, as this conjunction between Mars and the South Node has represented throughout the course of this past several days. So we do still have the continuation of this very transitional energy. Like, you need to do something different. Even if you think it's working, it's either not actually working, or it won't be working once we move forward into this very changeable energy that's coming up here. Remember, as we move into the energy of next week, we're going to get our first dose of grand air trine energy featuring the moon, Uranus, and Pluto. That is going to be, it's going to hit once a month, like I said, for really like the next long period of time, as Uranus and Pluto are both very slow moving planets. Uranus will retrograde, I believe, back into Taurus coming up here, which will break that air sign trine, but then Uranus will re-enter the sign of Aquarius after that, and we will be like right back in action, right back in the game in that grand air trine regard, like picking up where we left off. So this is a dynamic that is going to be making moves and taking names over this next several years, and it is this great awakening energy, and it is going to be bringing upgrades, it is going to be bringing sudden changes, and it is going to be facilitating our process to go through this paradigm shift. It's going to be ushering in this new space age energy, and it is going to be making known that the shift into the age of Aquarius is upon us, or at least in small ways is beginning to become more collectively known. So we got that coming up. That is going to be interesting. And because it's the first time this is being activated, it could be again, like a very changeable or a very just unusual or wild week somehow. So, you know, if things still do feel a bit like stuck in the mud throughout the course of the weekend, they are going to start moving. You can, I do think, put your faith in that somehow. The Mars or the moon transiting through the sign of Virgo on Saturday, of course, this is the sign where that Mars South Node conjunction is, and that could be triggering or bringing up feelings of anger or this internal irritation or this depression, but it is also going to help us to emotionally detach or emotionally release some of these things that are coming to their end right now, or that are being removed, or that are like causing the interruptions that we've got to resolve or correct somehow, that can't come with us into this new phase, new chapter, new era of our lives that, again, like we are being cosmically mandated to step towards now and really moving forward. By the time that the moon leaves Virgo Monday into Tuesday of next week, I do think we should be genuinely over something based on how this energy is coming together. This is probably going to bring for a lot of people like a finalization and like an ultimate point of moving on from something, maybe from something that we had been going round and round and round with for a real extensive or long period of time. Saturday with this Uranus square, the moon at 0 Virgo, this could be a strange, unusual day. Of course, Mars and Venus still in square, and the Mercury retrograde energy is ruling the moon Uranus square and the Mars Venus square, and of course still the Mars South Node conjunction. So I would double check everything on Saturday, details, times, locations, directions. There's a good chance that something got written down wrong, that something was read wrong, that we misunderstood something. So you're going to want to make sure that you know what you know and you don't just think what you know, and that your thoughts are actually skewed or wrong or off somehow. Again, this is quite a mistake oriented energy, so just be mindful of that. It's also pretty, it's still quite conflict oriented, argument prone with these squares going on in the sign of Mercury, which is the dialogue, the interpersonal dynamic, the communications. Of course, Venus and Mars, that's relationship dynamics, masculine and feminine, romantic counterparts. People could really still be a bit struggling to come together on things, to get on the same page. So try to have patience, maybe avoid problematic people and situations could be beneficial in energy such as this. On Sunday, as I have referenced and mentioned, tensions do continue to ease generally, despite the still rather hostile nature of things and people and situations going on out there. The sun on Sunday is 2 degrees out of exact opposition and aspect to Pluto, Saturn, and Neptune. We also have Mars 3 degrees out from the South Node, Venus 2 degrees out from the square to Mars, and the moon transiting through the sign of Virgo forms a beautiful benefic sextile to Jupiter in the sign of Cancer on Sunday. Organize, get some housework done, do some things to like put yourself back together, or self-care, getting perhaps our ducks back in a row, maybe to the best of our ability, without losing our mind if things are still just really a bit uncontrollable out there. We still may not feel like we have entirely made it through the madness on Sunday, but I do think things are going to be looking up a bit. With the moon trine Jupiter, this should elevate and lift our spirits, restore some faith, optimism, hope perhaps. There could be also a better ability to accomplish tasks, to get things done. Things could be flowing a bit smoother. Things could be feeling a bit more opened up. We may have a slightly elevated perspective on things, be able to kind of make sense of the chaos a bit more on Sunday. And therefore, things may be just feeling like a bit more normal and less like utter mess, chaos, weird disaster, which honestly just like has been a vibe over this past couple of weeks. And then, as I said, we do open up next week with actually a super busy moon day. You guys are going to want to tune into the report for next week because there's likely to be a lot happening and a lot going on. The moon in Virgo is going to conjoin Mars and the South Node, square Venus. Even though these aspects are distancing right now with the moon there, they are again going to be activated. But then the moon, as I said, will oppose Saturn and Neptune retrograde and will form that grand air trine with Pluto and Uranus. So there could be a lot happening on Monday. This could be a very active and like changeable and like things happening suddenly and in ways that we didn't anticipate type of energy. So that is what to come. But Sunday, I do think honestly feels like a decently chill day, especially in the context of or in comparison to just this hot mess of aspects and energy that we have had go on pretty consistently over the course of this past couple of weeks. This is a slow moving, like easy does it kind of day, kind of energy, go with the flow. Again, like delays, mix-ups, conflicts of ideas, conflicts of interest, misunderstandings, generally all of that is very much still present. Breakdowns and malfunctions could be going on as well, but make corrections, make repairs, clear out clutter, organize, put some time or energy or effort into things to do with your home or your family. Have patience and try your best not to let every little thing rattle your cage. That is what it's going to be for a lot of people. A lot of people are just like the annoyances, the distractions, just like the little things that we just are like not having a whole bunch of patience with, could be wearing on some people, or by the time that we get to this weekend, we could kind of just be over it. But I also think, and I've been saying this as well, but it's literally just because this is what is energetically being presented to me. The lighter that we can take things right now, the like having as much like sort of good humor as we can in the context of perhaps some of our issues that are going on right now. I don't know, like I think that there is some type of purpose in that for some reason. We literally on Friday, as we get this weekend started, when we still have all of those exact aspects in play, have Mars at 24 degrees of the sign of Virgo. That Sabian symbol is a lion tamer rushes fearlessly into the circus arena. And I've been saying, like, this past couple of weeks and this past few days, all the world like really has sort of felt like a circus, and I think that this symbol is right on point. Like, it's up to us to tame our own ego and not let it get the best of us and turn us into the beast. The lion tamer rushes fearlessly into the circus arena. Like, literally, while we are just entering Leo season, the sign ruled by the lion archetype and its opposed Pluto, that is this like powerful Leo energy that we've got going on. Leo in some capacity also associated with the ego, and with, I've been saying, with Saturn and Neptune conjunct in the sign of Aries right now, it's been like very difficult to maintain control over ourselves, to maintain a handle on things, to and with the sun there as well, and the Mars energy that's been highlighted, there could have been a lot of ego issues that have been coming up. So I do think we're getting real good symbolic advice through Mars's placement. Of course, Mars, also the planet ruling specifically the ego, is at this degree a lion tamer rushes fearlessly into the circus arena. So we need to do our best to tame our own ego, to keep our own beast under control in the midst of whatever circus could be going on out there. We also have Jupiter at 11 degrees of Cancer. That Sabian symbol is a clown caricaturing well-known personalities. And then we've got Saturn at 2 degrees of Aries, where he's been for a while now. That Sabian symbol is a comedian entertaining the group. So we've got clowns, we've got comedians, we got circuses, like it's all there in the energy of Friday and moving through this weekend, you guys. It's possible that perhaps it's just not all that serious, or maybe we shouldn't take it that seriously, or maybe like learning to laugh at ourselves, or maybe just not take ourselves or our issues so seriously if they are not, entirely dire. Like, that could be a lesson, or that could be of benefit. Maybe the way that this seems to be presenting. There also, though, could just be an inability for us to take things or people too seriously right now. You may find yourself just generally very unentertained by something. Also, remember the Chiron placement right now, a large disappointed audience. So I think it is kind of funny, wink wink, that we have 3 symbols, a circus, a comedian, and a clown, and then also we've got Chiron, like a large disappointed audience. So maybe we're just like not all that impressed by something, or we're having a hard time taking something seriously, or everything just seems like a bit of a joke, or again like a bit of a circus out there, and maybe it is, and maybe we don't need to take it all that seriously, or maybe we just need to learn to, like lighten up a little bit. Again, like if it is not the actual end of the world. A lot's probably going to be dramatic. A lot's probably going to be performative. Mercury and the moon, both in the sign of Leo right now, especially also in the form of verbal or emotional expressions. So don't be surprised if things feel a bit like a melodrama out there in your lived experience this weekend, you guys, because that may be how energy is likely to express itself. So that's what I have to say. That is my interpretation of the synastry of energetic activity that we've got going on this weekend. I am going to get us a synchronicity card now, asking for one final piece of advice from God, Spirit, Universe. What do we need to know? What should we keep in mind? There's our card. And interestingly, our card says seek inner strength, which again, like totally to me, brings up that degree where Mars is on Friday, 24 Virgo. The lion tamer rushes fearlessly into the circus arena because the lion tamer, the strength card in the tarot, seek inner strength. Again, like taming the ego and not being sucked into the circus. This could be a valuable piece of advice throughout the course of the weekend. This card says, seek inner strength. Give me this water that I thirst not. John 4:15. You are thirsting for values in your life. You are not using the wisdom and guidance of your subconscious when you don't think right, feel right, and act right. The mass mind impinges on your mind, and the result is confusion and failure. All wisdom, knowledge, and power is within your mind. You know the difference. You know the values you need to uphold. Turn away from the mass mind and go within to what you know is right. So I don't think that we need much additional commentary on that, you guys. That could and is very much in alignment with all of this Virgo, Gemini, square energy that we've got going on right now. All of this collective energy, big outer planetary activity that we've got going on right now. Seek inner strength and tame the beast. Turn away from the mass mind and go within to what you know is right. So that's our guidance, you guys, for the weekend. And that's what I have to say for my report for today, wrapping up another week of energy. This has been a big one, and I hope that you guys are all doing well out there. Thank you so much for being here. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think that they would also enjoy this type of astrology content. Leave me comments, you guys, if you are having experiences that line up with, that reflect what I'm talking about in these videos. Let me know in my comment section below. Super valuable information to me. Thank you guys so much for being here. Truly appreciate you. Love you so much. If you want to know what's on this whiteboard, I have a Facebook group linked in my description box below where I post images, photos I take of this board. If you want to see the whole thing, click the link in the description. It will take you to that group. That's where you can find them. And come back with me on Monday, you guys. We got as I have said, a new week of energy to get into, and we have a grand trine in air coming up with Pluto and Uranus and the moon. So that should be an interesting one. I'll be back to talk all about it on Monday. You don't want to miss it, you guys. I will see you next time. Have a beautiful weekend, and until then, bye.